This is the Cuff Podcast, Ep.7. I am one of the great hosts on this show, Miss Smith, and my co-host over there.
What's going on? It's Mr. Tynes. Welcome back. Like she said, Ep.7. To my right, I have a new, beautiful guest host. I'm going to let her introduce herself. I've been drinking, and I'm still drinking. So I'm going to let her go in.
Well, thanks for having me. Well, I'm Christine Brooks Cropper. I'm known as Madam We for Foreplay Matters podcast here in Washington, D.C., and the website is secretsociety.life. I have a sex wellness business here, but I also have a fashion business here.
Okay. Nice. You said Foreplay Matters.
Foreplay matters. Why? Because it matters.
I agree. Necessary.
Never skip over it.
Like, for real. Who you got beside you, Miss Smith?
I'm going to let him go ahead and introduce himself.
So I'm excited because I get to announce my new title. I was a Hennessy marketing manager for DC, but now I am the Moet Hennessy manager for DC. So let's get a toast.
Yes.
Get a toast to that.
Absolutely.
What we drinking?
Well, this is the Hennessy VSOP deep dive. So that it has honey in it and lemon juice. So it's a citrusy taste. So let's toast.
Yes.
Long
Clank,
range.
clank, clank.
For sure.
Oops. Cheers. It'll creep up on you, so you don't want to go too hard.
So don't drink too
No, it's
fast.
nice. It's
Don't
super
drink too
smooth.
fast,
Super
yeah.
smooth.
I'm having Hennessy VSOP neat. No ice. I had a real
You're not even drinking this
Nah,
guy. See, that's that fan. You see, he drink with his pinky up
Yeah,
too.
you saw the pinky. Fancy, man.
Pay attention.
Fancy.
All right, Miss Smith, it's on you. Let's jump into that first question. What we look like?
No, let's see. Okay, if a guy offers to take you on vacation, are you obligated to sleep with him?
Well, I guess because it was if a guy takes you, so
Yeah.
I guess I should answer the question. Because, I mean, if a guy takes you, are you obligated to sleep with them?
I'm good on that. I'm good on that.
Period. What?
I'm good.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think you probably kind of talked about it probably before you went on the vacation. I mean, I know personally myself, if I'm into the person and he pays for everything, am I obligated? No, because I'm in control of whatever. However, will I? I probably would. You know, I mean, just to be honest. And that's only because hopefully he's taking me to an exotic place like Bali or, you know, somewhere, India or Dubai
True
or
indeed.
something. Then you're going to drop some coins. So I'm going to want to get to know you a little better. And that's a part of the interview process, is getting to know you a little better.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, personally, I don't think that as men, we're not in control of that situation. We're never in control of that situation. So whether I spend $2,000 or $3,000, if you're physically attracted, it's going to happen. If you're not, probably not.
Not necessarily.
Blue balls.
Not necessarily. Because you might get a little curious, especially if you're laying by the pool and you see a little something. You might get a little curious, you know?
I mean, I was a late bloomer. And I found my niche was not to press the issue.
Right.
Now,
As a man.
As a man.
Yes.
So it was a gift and a curse. So let's say I paid for the trip, we got there. I'm not going to press the issue. But in the same instance,
Are you expecting it?
not necessarily I want it to happen, but in the same instance, you know what my father said to me? This is the first piece of advice he gave me, and I was scared to ask him anything, but he said, chances are she wants you to try something. You know, because I can lay next to a female. Like, again, I didn't have sex till I was a freshman in college, second semester freshman, late bloomer compared to all of my friends. So my strategy was, I'm gonna lay next to her. I don't want her to think that I'm a creep. But at the same time, she was like, is this nigga gay? Because he hasn't tried anything.
Right.
Now my manhood is
It's
being
in question.
Like,
Right.
talking to my girlfriends and he didn't try anything. So
Right, and they
two
gonna
things
talk
can
about
happen.
you.
It's
I'm gonna
like
let you
she
know
think
that.
that, well, he didn't find me attractive, or this nigga's gay, So
Right.
I always said it was the gift and the curse. I fall asleep quick. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, oh, he was impressed. I like him, Then I'll
Right.
try on it. You know how guys used to do. They wait 20 minutes. You know how we used to do. We wait
Absolutely.
20 minutes like,
What you
all
gonna
right,
do?
I'm going to go for the panties again. And it's like, but my personal opinion is just, if we're going on this trip, no matter how much I spent, I invited
Right.
you. You don't have to put out, like, I'm thinking long term, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, something could pop off after the trip. It doesn't have to.
Right,
Yeah.
but you made a valid point as far as she's in control. The woman is always in control. Whatever situation you're going into, the woman invites and the woman invites. So you made a valid point. The woman is in control.
No, and that's a fact. And it's interesting because Vann stated that his father gave him advice and my mother gave me advice. My mother would always say, listen, the man who says the least is actually the loudest. You know what I mean? I was 12. So, I didn't understand it at the time. But in retrospect, it's like, okay, like she's going to let you know whatever
Right.
it is that she's
Absolutely.
interested in.
Absolutely.
She's going to give you all of the foresight, all of the play, the energy, the exchange. She's going to give you that if she's interested.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
listen, play it how you play it. Like,
Nobody was
be
checking
cool
for
how
me
you
at
be
12.
cool.
That is so funny.
Well, and nobody was checking for me either, but I think that was just her way of, instilling a gem.
Yeah.
Early that I can take with me, because I didn't even understand what she meant. What do you mean the guy that's actually the loudest or the quietest is the loudest? Like, that doesn't even make sense to a 12-year-old.
My mom was like, you're fucking?
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, and as stated on previous episodes, I actually started having sex at like 12, 13. So
And
she
most
was kind of
boys
like
do.
right on point
Right.
with it. And I have, I guess, utilized those ideologies for years, and they work. You don't have to press the issue. I got homeboys that's like, when they go out, oh, I'm getting 10 numbers tonight. And they gonna shoot 40 times.
Really?
I'm
Wow.
not playing. Yeah,
Wow.
they gonna shoot
It's a
40
numbers game.
times.
Really?
Somebody's going to bite.
Somebody gonna bite. And that's their mentality. It's that Russell Westbrook mentality. Whereas for me, I'm not shooting at all.
That's me. That's me.
You know what I'm saying? If you're interested, you're gonna let me know. And if we have decent dialogue, then that's gonna speak for itself.
It is. And majority of the language is body language. So nonverbal is more
Nonverbal.
powerful than verbal.
Indeed.
Because you can say a whole lot and then your actions don't add up. So at the end of the day, talk is cheap. I'd rather see the actions than you chewing in my ear and then not following through
But
with
the
it.
older you get, the more you pick up on that body language. Because
Yeah.
when I was young, it could have been a bunch of females in the party that found me attractive, but I didn't pay attention because I'm looking for the direct conversation. They could have been with their girlfriends like, oh, he's handsome, but I'm more like, where my niggas at? Like, where?
Right.
I didn't pay attention to those signs. So those same signs can be given on that vacation. You
Yeah,
just gotta
so-
pay attention.
Yeah,
See,
attention.
okay, so like for me, I'm all for, I do agree that body language does say something. However, I think people can misconstrue body language.
Yeah, they can.
That happens to me a lot because like I'm an outgoing person. Like I can engage with a guy, laugh, smile, have
Yeah.
fun, be like, oh my God. Oh,
Yeah.
like really like not flirt, but can definitely be engaging enough to
That's
where they
flirty.
trying to figure out, is she trying to like, but I'm not being flirty. I'm just
Being you.
being
Right,
me. I'm
absolutely.
just,
Friendly.
I'm friendly. Like, I'm just being engaging.
When all else fails, just walk out the room with your dick out. I tried that.
When
Oh, you
all
did?
else fails.
It was cool in the room. Too. She was like, "Oh wow."
No.
Okay,
But,
Tyler.
like, I definitely do, like, get that where guys can misconstrue. They be
They
like,
can.
and they'll try to make a move, and I'm like, oh, no. It ain't
And
like
you're that obvious. Oh no.
I'm like, yes, I'm very, very obvious.
Very
Like,
direct.
no, we ain't.
But miscommunication isn't necessarily just a guy thing either.
Yeah, it's
You know what I mean? Just to transition the conversation a little bit. I could be spending a weekend with you at your spot.
Mm-hmm.
If I get there and you don't have the things that I like, then I'm going to buy groceries. And this isn't necessarily for you, This is for me because
So I can be comfortable.
So
in
I
your
can be
space.
comfortable while in your space while I'm present, right? But to you, it's like, girl,
He done
bought
bought groceries.
He done loaded me up.
Right, right,
Like
right.
he's on it. I never
And I'll
had
be
that
like,
happen
"You coming
before.
over next week?"
Exactly. But whole time I'm not even courting, I'm
You,
not even
like, you're
shooting my
thinking about
shot for
you.
real. It's more so, we may be
trying
spending
to
the
be
weekend as planned,
I'm a
but this
jerk.
is
I'd be like, you don't have cable?
this-
Oh wow.
Come on.
Come over to my house.
This is about me. So to bring it back to the question, it's like, okay, if we go on a vacation, I just didn't want to go by myself.
So,
You know what I'm saying?
I've heard that. I've heard that.
And
I've heard that.
I've heard of situations where, guys will ask, a girl on vacation, like, just come through, you don't got to pay for nothing. I got it. And expect the girl to put out. But then they'll, like, let the guy know, like, look, I need my own room. We not doing nothing.
Right.
Like, set that precedent, like, up front. And then they'll either be like, okay, that's cool. Don't say no more about it. Or they'll be like, let's go. Like, I've had a guy say to me, look, let's just go on vacation together. We can get 2 rooms and I pay for it and it's cool. In my mind, I was kind of like, well, where we going? But then I'm kind of like, I didn't want to say yes and he get the wrong idea. Just even if he did, just because he did say, oh, I'm gonna get 2 rooms, you know what I'm saying? He's still gonna try to shoot a shot.
Yeah,
Not
or some.
necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, at least he said 2 rooms, so you know
Yeah.
if
To
it
make you
doesn't
feel
work,
He's
out,
giving you the
he's
option.
creating-
Right,
right,
he's
right.
creating a safe space for you. That's a gentleman.
Yes.
You
That's a
know,
gentleman.
I mean, then it's up to you whether you go on that trip or not.
But
I'd be like,
as
can I bring
men-
some of my girls?
Right, look.
I'm gonna tell you why that was dope. Because as men, when I go to book that room, we're looking. I'm like, double king, double
Right.
king. I'm gonna just tell Maria they didn't have any doubles. So we go with it. Like, that's real. I recently had a situation where the communication was so bad that, and I told Maria about this. She put the trip on her credit card, but I gave her my half. When we got there, I think I covered most of the excursion part. But when we got back, like literally maybe 3 weeks later, we had a disagreement. And she said, okay, we need to talk because you owe me money. And I was like, for what? We don't have a kid together. We don't have a kid together. And she was like, oh, I was under the impression. She did put out. But
Let's just
Let's just clarify. She did
she
put
was
out.
under the impression that I was paying for the whole trip. And I was like, no, I never said that.
Right.
Never said that.
Yeah.
So I gave you my half.
So where was she? I have to ask. Where would she get that impression from?
Yeah.
If
I
you-
don't
Did
know.
y'all-
That's it. When we sat down that morning after our disagreement,
Did you talk
prior
about it
to,
before you went on the
I was
trip?
looking at her like, and she almost got me because she was so convincing. Because I was like, maybe I do deal with this motherfucker money. I don't want her to put my name out in the streets like this nigga owe me money.
Yeah.
Right.
So and then I
right.
was like, nah, man, we ain't discussed that. Like I paid my half. We're good. Move on. What else do you have a problem with? No, I honestly think the breakdown in communication was on her part, because anybody I meet knew, I'm sorry, I'm not paying for a whole trip to DR. I'm not. We can go half so we can get to know each other. I'm not. Can't.
It's accountability.
It is.
It's a
It really is.
conversation
Yeah.
as you're planning
It's a
and going on this trip,
conversation.
because
But
if
I
it's
missed
a
that
trip
part.
and it's a treat to me, you're gonna
Then
pay for
right.
the whole
Right.
trip.
Right.
You know, I might get a drink here and there while we're on the trip, but you know, it's just communication is key.
Just a drink? It's all inclusive. You tried it.
We're
It's all inclusive.
Okay, well then that's included in the price.
That is so funny.
But let's flip the question, because we said, okay, if the guy pays for the whole trip, is the woman obligated to put out? Let's flip it. If the female pays for the whole trip, is the guy obligated to put out?
I'm putting out at the airport. You ain't gonna worry about it. It's good. Like,
And see, like, that's the difference I feel like with men and women, is that men are more like, yeah, oh, I'm down to do that. Whereas women are a little bit more like, they're held back on doing it. Like, oh, they want a trip.
On the
so yeah, they'll
expectation
go.
piece.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
that's how I look at it.
but I feel like out of town is no holds barred. You don't have anybody local to run
Right,
into,
right.
But if you're from the DMV area, DC motherfuckers is everywhere.
Yeah.
You can go to DR and they go, hey, don't I know you? Nah, nigga, I don't know you. but I feel like when you take somebody out their environment and then once you get there and see how beautiful it is, your chances of being intimate are greater than it would be here.
It is.
Because you let all your
go.
inhibitions go, and it's just like, all right, he's fat and ugly, but
Well,
I'm
that's
just
not
have
true.
fun.
But I'm not, and that's the thing. Like, if I know going in, you know whether or not you have sex with that person, point blank, period. Like, you know. So just because we in an exotic place, don't mean that we going be like, I'm just following it.
We in
it
it like that though.
But do
when
you
go-
know?
and especially when you get to a certain age, we do a talk in an episode called the traveler or international sex, and that's because whenever me and my girls travel somewhere, somebody's gonna have what we call an excursion or experience or the AAA, whatever it is. That happens, because you are in another exotic country, no one knows you, and it's time to now play. It's time to explore and play depending on what you do. If you're a CEO of your own business and you work hard, then, sometimes you want to play hard. And it might be an experience that you want to tap into or explore.
But
like a one night stand.
A one night stand, or even something that you wouldn't do home. It could be just, I never had sex with a different race, and here I am. This is my opportunity. I mean, I'm going to do it. Nobody's going to know. And again, it's like, are you going to count it or are you not going to count it? No one knows,
Right.
So
I'll take it a step further. You know what I noticed out of town, going abroad, that let's just say maybe it's a American thing, because Europeans, if you've noticed, if you ever watch Europeans, they just
let it go.
let it all,
Yes, they
all
do.
out.
You know what I'm saying? They don't-
Literally.
this kind of question, you ask them that, like, I'm fucking them.
Yeah.
Get there, I'm
Fucking
fucking them.
A.
And I'm going topless on the beach.
Yeah.
Broad daylight
Skinny
in front of a
dipping.
bunch
Yeah.
of kids. You know what I'm saying? So
'Cause
I
that's
think
their
it's
culture.
it's their culture.
It's their culture.
Even their commercials are different. You know what I mean?
That's why I love traveling outside
I think it's
of the
just
US
here,
limits.
and we don't let ourselves go. Now, if he's a total dick and you can't have a conversation with him poolside, then I get it. Don't give him no pussy. But if he's making
But
you
go
laugh
find
and you're having a
somebody
good time,
But I can't just,
And he's paying.
can't do
Yeah,
that
yeah.
just because he make me
fire.
laugh
That's
and I have a
crazy.
good time with him. I have to be attracted to you, like, physically.
Listen.
And if you ain't like
listen,
making
when all
me feel
else
like, yo, I'm
fails,
trying to,
when
like-
all else fails,
So
in the drink, really?
so listen. Let me say this. I completely disagree. I completely disagree with what he's
Bill
talking about,
Cosby,
right? Bill Cosby. No, listen.
These
So-
views are not saying put that disclaimer out.
So look, essentially, I think we all can agree to there is no obligation per se.
There's no obligation.
But a conversation, some type of adult communication is warranted. So speak your piece before you actually, force this man, not even force, but, even allow this man or this woman to spend his or her money. We're going to take a brief intermission. We're going to transition. We'll be back in a short. See you soon.
I need those cuff cards.
Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Do you wait for the other person to say I love you first, even if you already feel it?
And then for you and your wife and your friends that you have over the house, this is called Let's Cuff. This is an adult game.
And actually, this is how I'm going to be using you all on the show.
Today's the day, you guys. Cuff and combos, okay?
Would you allow your spouse to have a stripper as a best friend?
Yes, cup cards. The perfect way to spice up your fucking gathering.
Hey guys, welcome back. Y'all know this is the Cuff Podcast. I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to the Tynes because I think we have a user submitted question.
Hey, listen, put some respect on my name. Put the Mr. Put the Mr. in front of my joint.
Tynes.
I appreciate you. Thank you. What's up? So we're gonna get into this. So we have a user submitted question this go around. So we're gonna go a little differently. So it reads: in a relationship, if sex is important to one partner and not to the other, is the person it's important to supposed to just settle for less, or do they need to keep it moving?
Okay.
I'm gonna read. Let me read that one more time. Let me read that one more time. Take a drink. Do what you need to do.
It made me take a deep breath. Like,
yeah, absolutely. In a relationship, if sex is important to one partner and not to the other, is the person more important? Is the person it's more important to supposed to just settle for less, or do they need to keep it moving? What you think?
So, okay, first there should be a conversation. One, like if you know my sex drive is on 10 and yours is on 2, then you know I will let you know, like, look, every time I'm trying to get fucked and you ain't trying to fuck me, I might go fuck somebody else. Ouch. So you might want to fuck me when I want to get fucked. True. You know what I'm saying? And if
she's single.
And if it's not, if you may feel like, well, it's not important to you, then we're going to have a problem because, I mean, either one or two ways.
Yeah.
You're not compatible.
You're not compatible. Yeah.
Hit me off when I need to be hit off, or I'm just going to cheat on you. So you pick which one you want to do.
Well, one's hypersexual, the other's asexual. You definitely need to have some type of conversation around that because you're not compatible. And but also, too, you have to think about what type of relationship you're in. Because like if you're in a 20-some year, I was married to my husband for 24 years. So if you're in a marriage and that starts to happen at some point in your marriage, then yes, you need to have that conversation. Now, as far as if you're going to suppress yourself because of the other, then that's where, like myself, I had a conversation, should we explore an open marriage? Because at the end of the day, if you're not pleased, that's the whole point of husband and wife. If not, then we're roommates. Where we going back to college being roommates, you know, if we're not being intimate.
Right.
So now as far as, because life takes on, you know, as far as bills and kids and just all these other responsibilities that you may have, and someone may be tired, then that's where communication comes in as far as, do we schedule sex night? Now, that could be a little boring, some people say. However, some people, when you get to a certain age and because of all responsibilities, you have to schedule sex night, date night.
Right.
You got to do what you need to do. But communication is key. So as far as now, if you're not going to please me at some point, and 4 years have passed and you haven't fucked me,
no.
Then now, and we then tried therapy, and you're still not doing whatever, then pretty much that's where it's like, oh, I'm going to have to take on a lover.
I'm such a man because the only thing I heard was scheduling sex. And I was like, I don't have to schedule sex. I just want to fuck when we fuck.
Right,
like,
for sure.
Like,
for sure.
But schedule could be tantra. You don't have to have intercourse every single time. Sex can come in different forms. So you can do Reiki, you can do an integrated massage, a tantric massage. You can start to do yoni and ancient Chinese
at some point, it
practice.
has to be penetration.
Penetration at some point, and it can be. It could be
that night, not
that night. But you never know.
First.
If you start to learn tantra and
7 minutes.
learn how to channel your energy and possibly learn how to have an orgasm with each other without even penetrating, you're going to be on a whole nother playing field that you might be like, man, I want to do tantra again tomorrow, you know. But then if look at his face.
She is working you right there.
I got a poker.
You got a poker?
I got a poker.
I mean, and then I mean, maybe the next night or the night after, but that's also too, again, the level of the relationship. Is it a casual relationship? Is it a beginning relationship? Is it a 20-year marriage?
Yeah.
Of course, there's gonna be different things because poking gets bored after a while. you know, and you got to start exploring other parts of my body.
Absolutely.
You know, and then
No,
also,
I love what you're saying.
Great segue.
And when I turn 50, maybe I'll get to that point. But I just think at some point, there has
you
got to
have
penetration.
intercourse.
whether it's with my finger or with my penis.
Something. You got to be. I agree with you. Seriously,
Okay,
you have to be mentally in tune with that person. It depends on how much time you've been together.
Exactly.
That tantra.
Yeah.
That hashtag tantra get happen. It's not going to happen when you just met somebody.
No, it's not.
You know, it's like it's not going to happen.
That's where you have to have the right partner.
You be that in tune with somebody. Oh my God!
If you're married to somebody
you have to
I feel like
kill if somebody looks at her funny. Like,
well, first of all, when you could be married to somebody for 20-some years and not be in tune.
That's true.
But then you can get a tantric lover within 6 months to a year, and you have a connection like no other. And then you start to practice more tantra because that's over time.
In my
tantra
industry,
is practice.
That's not going to happen.
Well, and that's an interesting concept because I just made the comment to a close friend the other day that said, we measure so many things by time, but there's no real chronological order to what's the perfect time, what's the right time, when should I do this, when should I do that. So, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation topic within itself.
I became a firm believer. I place time on everything, and I became a firm believer when my son's mom, she met who is her husband now.
Okay.
She met him on Tinder, and in 6 months they bought a house. And very shortly after they bought a house, they got married. Mm-hmm. And I didn't believe in that. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. You don't even really know this guy. But then we had a talk, and I was like, yo, that's fucking awesome.
Absolutely.
You can do that. Mm-hmm. Me personally, it's not going to happen because you rub me the wrong way. You can leave the cabinet open and not close it. I'm like, oh, this chick is crazy. Like, I can't do it. But
that's where you work on yourself, because it sounds like you have some control issues.
I'm a Leo, so yes.
Yeah.
I do have
lead me right
issues.
into the wall. That's what Leos do.
Yeah.
God is. Yeah, she's a Leo too. So God is working with both of us.
Yeah.
Don't judge us.
Yeah, well, I'm a
trying
Taurus,
to do better.
Okay.
Trying to relieve control.
I'm just saying.
But see, the thing is, what really needs to happen in a lot of relationships, whether it's a beginning relationship or a 20-year marriage, to achieve happiness, because that's what most people want to achieve in their life, and to accomplish pleasure, you really need to throw expectations out the door.
Absolutely.
That's the only way you can achieve happiness.
Absolutely.
Because the moment that you go in expecting something, human behavior, period, you're going to be let down.
Yeah.
Because
Facts.
people disappoint you all the time. Absolutely. And your expectations, or whatever you dreamed up or fantasy in your head and how you played it out, and then if he doesn't go play by play on that script, then you're disappointed, right? So just throw those expectations out the door and be focused on happiness and balance and peace and harmony, and just live life and be liberated.
But does that work for everybody? I totally agree with you. I feel like expectations should definitely be out the door. It should be organic, natural, however, you guys' energy aligns and y'all go moving forward. However, I do know people where they feel like that they have to have an expectation. I can't just meet someone and I'm having sex with them and not expect something from them. And to a certain degree, I get it, but at the same time, it's just kind of like when it comes to relationships, you shouldn't have any expectations. I believe that, hands down, because once you put that expectation, like you said, disappointment comes.
It comes
fast.
But that's where you have a conversation. Again, communication is key.
Trumps all doubt.
Exactly. Communication, consistency, and compromise.
Absolutely.
So that's anytime you get into any type of relationship. So you have to communicate about what, if you are having sex or you're in a long-term relationship or a short-term relationship, but either way you're having sex. And if you're saying, some people expect Well, I need to get something out of it. But guess what? Every relationship you have, whether it's personal, professional, whatever, there should be a win-win. So you should be having that conversation, because if I'm putting it down here and I'm giving you a lot of time, and then say you have a demanding job that you can't give me the frequency that I demand or request or need or want or expect, but really that need and the want should trump the expectation. However, we had a conversation about it, right? So then you may have a busy job. Then I may say, well, you know what, baby? I need an allowance because I'm not getting the frequency that I need. But again, that's a conversation. It's a compromise, right? Yeah. Because you're not giving me what I want, and so therefore, but this is the compromise,
right?
You know, and so that's why I always tell people communication, consistency, and compromise is key. And it's all about talking about it.
I mean, you gotta talk about it.
This shit just became therapeutic. I'm looking like I'm looking at you like I am the problem.
Yo, listen.
I'm the problem.
Listen.
I'm Madam We on Foreplay Matters, because it matters. Tune in.
I'm gonna stop because this is my sister. This is my sister, so she gonna ride regardless. I can be wrong as fuck, and I'll be like, she'll be like, I'm not talking to her.
So
I'm blocking her on social media.
So listen.
I'm like, Maria, I'm the problem.
So to answer the question, if one person is a little more sexually active or expects a little more sexual attention than the other, what are we doing? What are we doing in that situation?
Walking away because y'all not compatible.
We're not compatible.
What you want, he can't do unless y'all have a conversation and have agreed that, okay, you can step outside this and it's just going to be open since I can't satisfy you.
It's going to grow to a bigger problem if you don't walk. If you don't
so.
walk, it's going to grow to a bigger problem. That's just my opinion.
It can or it can't. It depends.
It
depends on who you're dealing with.
It depends on who you're dealing with.
It depends on who you're dealing with. Now, we see if you, then yeah, we got to walk because we're going to have a bigger problem.
Right, exactly.
But as far as someone else, you never know. Again, communication, consistency, and compromise. So yeah, of course, the easy thing is to walk away. You know, where you got to put in work.
What are the chances he's going to say, okay, babe, I'm going to step it up from sex once a week to 3 to suit your needs?
That's not going to
happen. No, I'm just saying, like,
if he said that, I'd be like, great, okay, let's work on this. And if he's stepping up from once a week to 3 times a week,
if he's already doing one, you know the other 2 are going to suck ass. You know it's going to suck ass because he's trying hard.
You never know.
But you really don't want to do it.
But so you do know. When you put that pressure, when you apply that pressure, unfortunately, people really don't perform well under pressure.
Well, that's where you throw the expectations out the door,
right?
So that you don't be focused on performance. But I will definitely say with men, it's a psychological thing. So women, when the man is not, putting out or depressed or whatever he's going through, midlife crisis, whatever he's going through, because if he's not having sex, it's like, what's going on with you? But you never know. You might be going through hit 40s, midlife crisis, hit 50, midlife crisis, 43. So finances might not be right, because with men, when they go into depression, it's mainly because finances aren't right. And that's when their libido goes down. Yep. And women need to understand that.
Absolutely.
Because women have unrealistic expectations on men too.
Listen.
Okay, so
come on now.
For the man, I'm giving some kudos to the man.
You just read my whole life, my whole 30s.
Yo, listen.
But at the end of the day, if he goes from 1 day to 3, that's some progress.
Yeah.
And that's somebody and compromise. And it's like, well, I'm gonna work with you. Now, if you go from that 1 to nothing, then
he's fucking somebody else.
Exactly. Or he's gay, or he has a physical problem because his low T, they got all this Viagra and they got all this medicine out here, Cialis, what is it? can't remember all of them. All of them, right. They have all that for you now to help with that. But again, it can get to the point of don't desire. But a woman can then step out and start looking sexy and dressed, and knowing that now you come in 2, 3 in the morning and other men are giving you attention, that's a psychological thing on a man too. He'll start changing his ways because he's trying to figure out what's going on. You know, and then, you know, you might get it for another short period of time that you get from that 1 to that 3 to maybe every single day because they don't want that woman stepping out.
Right.
But
that's when that territorial,
Yeah,
psychological,
men are
that's when all of that comes into
territorial.
place.
Or you
Now
might crack your
I'm
forehead,
slinging dick 3
whatever
days a
comes
week, and
first.
I ain't even interested. You know what I mean? That's crazy. That's good.
yeah.
See?
I know.
We would be here like all night.
I'm looking like
If we like
I'm about to put you on
continue-
speed
Look,
dial.
We're gonna definitely have to have you guys back on again.
Yes.
Listen.
I want to
This
thank
was
you guys
wonderful.
for coming. I am Miss Smith.
I'm Mr. Tynes. I appreciate you guys coming out. I guess to address the user submission or the user question, listen, pay attention to the signs, 3 C's, communication, consistency, what was the other one? Compromise. I'm sorry.
See, that's
This
what I
Hennessy,
do to you.
man, it gets you right. I'm gonna allow our co-host or special guest rather to exit her own self. I don't have it.
Well, I mean, just thank you for having me. This was fun, and this was a pleasure. I mean, a sex wellness business to a sex playing card. It's just a happy marriage here.
Come on
so
now.
please have me back.
This is therapeutic for me. I came to have fun, and it turned out that I have problems.
You got control issues.
I got control issues. No, but I really appreciate you guys having me. It was beautiful. These cuff cards have been life-changing. It's been fun. I've incorporated it in my life. So thank you again. And
Thank you for coming out to episode 7 of the Cuff Podcast. We appreciate you. Signing out.
We out.
Out of here. Appreciate y'all.